Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sohum Reactions. Peace, love, and positivity to you. Today's reaction request comes from Austin, who sent us the third act, The City Made Us, from the Protomen. It's been really fun over the last half year going through the Protomen's discography. We first listened to Act 2, then checked out Act 1, and now in real time, with the proximity of Act 3 being released, now we're finally checking it out, and we're going to figure out, how this awesome and chaotic and dystopian story ends. Last we left off, I think we had a sort of ambiguous feeling about what the Proto-Men represents now, because we are pretty much putting all of our Gryffindor points, all of the eggs in the Mega Man basket. The Proto-Man, well, he seems like he's become a little bit, I guess you could say, jaded or cynical in his approach to saving the world, and no longer does he want to actually save the citizens. He, in fact, views the citizens as the problems. And you wouldn't be entirely wrong, but that doesn't mean we can't still show forgiveness in our attempts to ameliorate the world's conditions. But of course, when you have so much power, with that power comes responsibility. And if for whatever reason the power you now wield is targeted towards a group that, well, really can't fight back, then the only way to save that group is to have somebody equally, if not more powerful, to contest. So there's a lot of nuance that, I've omitted from the actual story, but as we re-enter the world of the Proto-Man, we will figure out where the story maybe finally ends. So once again, massive thank you to you, Austin, for the album request. But without further ado, let's jump into it. There's a playlist link available in the description box in case you want to follow along the entirety of the story. I wonder if I should be narrating this. Night covers the city, the stars are out, but the lights barely filters down through the buildings of the streets below. Towards the center of the sprawling metropolis, the neon signs spill angled shadows down the alleyways, and the streetlights pour pools of garish white down onto the pavement. Further out from the city's center, the lights become fewer and farther between, the darkness deeper. It's like they're writers or something. Rising up from the street, pockets of steel are just visible, framing the few windows holding back hints of dim lamplight within. The blanket of shadow lifting only once you've broken free of the crowded, sleeping buildings and emerged into the cool night air above the skyline. The soft glow of the collective lights breathing slowly in the dark. The faint outline of a girl stands over the city, the silhouette of a helmet hanging at her side. She watches silently under the canopy of stars in the night sky. A new character. A streak of light pulls her attention from the slow pulses of red to the northeast as she watches a star shoot across the sky and disappear beyond the horizon. She looks up into the heavens as a second sails silently by. A few more cut a similar path, and then a single curious star streaks westward. As it nears the horizon, it lingers somehow, halting its escape from view. The pinprick of light getting brighter, its luminous tail seeming to shorten and disappear behind the white-hot center, growing angrier and quivering. Now it trembles violently, emitting a howling whine as the light forces her eyes closed. She feels the heat rip past just above her. A blast of searing air knocks her off her feet as the impact into a neighboring building buries her scream, and the sounds of torn metal and shattering glass. Oh, I love the timing there. And it plunges her into total darkness. Thick dust and acrid smoke fill her nose and mouth as she struggles to find her footing. Unsteady but intact, she stumbles towards the fire escapes, stopping to pick up the helmet from where it landed. I think this was was it the helmet of Proto-Man or Mega Man? I'm trying to remember from last time, because I remember the citizens were witnessing the whole battle. Her eyes her burning eyes trained on the red pulsing tower in the distance, straining to make out the signs of the next imminent threat, cursing herself for letting her guard down. She should have known something was coming. She hadn't seen a robot patrol for blocks. For a brief moment, she let herself feel safe. It's that moment you let your guard down, right? In this city, you're never truly safe. This is something she's known her whole life. In this city, to be afraid is to be alive. The girl hurries to make her way down to the street, rung by rung, fingers gripping the cold metal tightly as her heart pounds in her chest. There's a thrill to survival, and by now she's figured out how to harness that fear and turn it into momentum. And it's such a valuable skill to be able to do that, because life is full of fears. That's kind of unavoidable, and I think it's parasympathetic nervous system will activate fear very quickly. Can we channel the energy from fear into something more productive? When I was a young... Okay, so it's more... Okay, good. I won't have to narrate that. Not sure why the volume is quiet on the YouTube videos, but... So her feet land hard on the pavement, ready to run. Instead, she ducks into the shadows, frantically scanning the streets for the metal sentries sure to be on their way. The tech feudalism world. All the robots are now autonomous, doing what they'd like. She allows herself only a glance at the destruction above. Wow, the vocals there. And hopes that people sleeping inside died quickly and without suffering before heading off into the darkness in search of answers. She tucks the helmet into her backpack as the windows above begin to fill with frightened faces. She is a brave one. Why am I thinking of Bonnie Tyler right now? We need a hero. People spill out of the doors of the tenements that line the street, whether to get a better look at the destruction of afraid that their building will be next, she's unsure. Wow, I love the quickness of the vocal delivery and a lot of power there. It reminds me of Ann Wilson. Let's go back. I want to read all the narration. She doesn't stop to ask. She can't. The fires that light up the night make tonight's purpose all the more important. She checks her watch and quickens her pace. It's nearly 3 a.m. She takes one last look over her shoulder at the gathering crowd. She pauses at a heavy metal door in the alleyway. She looks once more over her shoulder for any sign that she's been spotted by the night's patrol, ready to keep moving if she sees any sign of ghostly white eyes radiating from the expressionless metal faces, or worse, the scanning red lights of the battle helmets. Still no sign. The strange absence causes a mix of relief and unease. Yeah, where are they? Holding on to a hero. I'm loving the melodic atmosphere. We got a lot of great chords. The guitars below are just permeating this mix. She closes her eyes and searches hard for the sounds of the flying drones. We're also in a drone world too, by the way. She tries in vain to listen through the noise of the growing crowd filling the nearby street, dazed and terrified, sleepers shaken from their beds. All she can hear is their collective voices as they speak in scared, hushed tones. I love the writing in this. I feel like I'm actually reading a book. I can imagine the world. I'm obviously implanting the album cover to help stimulate the visuals of what I'm imagining. But the descriptions are extremely vivid. human choir. She slips silently through the door of a warehouse, hoping beyond hope that he's here, somewhere amid the small crowd gathered underneath the lone hanging fixture in the hazy pool of light. She scans the familiar faces, each of them belonging to a man or woman who has given everything to keep the last flickering flames of hope alive. Most of them, perhaps, a single blow away from giving up and joining the hopeless masses outside, their voices rising now in a single sorrowful crescendo. It says hope, that's what it's meant to symbolize. There must be an end. And the thing is, the moment you give up on your hope is the moment you lose. Even if things are at their worst, keeping on to that hope and just keeping on, that's the success. That's the way to a better future. And there's the duality of man. The city is dead. There's no hope. Man steps out of the darkness, the face she was hoping to see. Light. Saying words she cannot believe. Wow. She makes her way to the front of the crowd. Determined to stop the flames of hope from going out. I mean, come on, Light. She steps in front of the old man and addresses the shaken crowd. There's a gallop in this beat. Ignoring him, she focuses all of her will on pulling the crowd back from the brink. Dude, I'm loving whoever put this video together. The timing and the paragraphs, the coloring too, it all helps. Her words are a burst of oxygen. Whoa. Who is the vocalist on this? I have to look this up quick. Who is the vocalist for Act 3, the Protomen female? The female vocalist and human choir voice for the Protomen is Gambler Kirk Douglas. She's responsible for singing all the female character roles across the band's discography, including on the album Act 3. Okay, so we've got Gambler popping off vocally here. That is insane. The pitch there, it's so high up. They reignite the smoldering crowd into a fiery frenzy, incinerating the words of warning from the old man standing behind her. A great surge of hope. A great surge of hope lights up the room like a hungry furnace full of embers. Wow. So actually, Light is the Debbie Downer, and in spite of that, the girl, which I hope they give her a name for real, but maybe it doesn't matter. The girl, she is that ray of hope. And sometimes that's like the most illustrative way to show people that it's still possible, is to actually have the scene play out of somebody who has lost all hope and then someone on the other end who is still, in spite of how bleak things seem, still keeping on. That juxtaposition, that immediate point of comparison, gives people an idea of which camp they could lie in. You know what I'm saying? Hungry Furnace is cool. Oh, now the back and forth. Here's the juxtaposition. Human choir, they're convinced. Oh, you hear the electric through all of this? The layering is crazy. I love that Light and the girl are kind of finding unison by the end. Someone's got to, no one's left to bring back the light, and I know we won't fight alone, and darkness will block out the sun if we can't. Like, in a sense, they're both finishing each other's sentences, because, you know, they both realize the practical difficulties of achieving what they want to, and Light is more pessimistic. The girl, obviously, more optimistic. Thomas Light cries out against the wall of unified voices. His desperate pleas are drowned out by the chorus of revolutionaries before him, their young leader's voice the loudest of them all. The crowd has always been hers. He can see that now. He finally understands how close to the tipping point they stood, that they are no longer satisfied with silent dissent. He can see that they're ready to march behind her through the streets, ready to rain down hell on the center of the city, ready to raise their voices to the heavens and shake the very foundations of the earth until the tower, the beacon, the man himself comes crashing down at their feet. Wow, dude, this is so climactic. Realization dawned on Thomas. It had been a mistake to come here. He gives the frenzied crowd one last pitying glance as he fades into the darkness of the warehouse and through the door into the alley to the climbing guitar. Thunder claps in the distance. The girl follows at his heels as he storms away. And I think it's useful to unpack a little bit of why Thomas isn't satisfied with his communication here, because by showing that she was more hopeful than he was pessimistic, he feels like the audience has now been given false hope and they're all heading to their demise. So he's still unconvinced that it's possible, even though he realizes the practical tipping point is not of whether they will actually achieve freedom in the way that they would like, but they have switched from passivity into action. It doesn't necessarily equate action with the success of what their action hopes to bring forward, but that's I think that's the practical implication of this. The girl follows at his heels as he storms away, expressing regret that the meeting she had worked so long to arrange had occurred in the shadow of an attack. She begs him to stop and listen. This attack is just the beginning, but these people are ready to stand up and fight. All they need is a hero that they can stand beside. She pleads for Light to help her find him. Come on, Light. We need you, man. The train yard. At the edge of the empty train yard, Thomas halts. The girl's insistent voice is drowned out by the echoes of this place, the steel wheels that carried him here, and the whispers of the ghosts who followed him. By the time the memories have grown quiet, so is the girl. They make their way across the tracks and through the entrance of the moldering building. As they climb the seemingly endless flight of stairs, she begins her pitch again. I think we need an extra 10 seconds to do all of the reading. She shares him with the many theories she had developed over the years about where to begin the search if only he would. But she stops suddenly as he slides open the heavy door and they cross the threshold into a dimly lit workshop. He walks into a darkened corner and re-emerges carrying a large dust-covered case. He sets it on the desk and opens it to reveal a machine with a small screen and several dials. Shout out all these sound effects, by the way. He flips the switch on the front, the tubes hum, and the display flickers to life. I've always known where to find him, he tells her. Yeah, Light is gatekeeping, man. I just don't think anything can convince him to come back here. He made the choice to leave. That's what makes him different. See, he can choose. A red dot glows faintly on the right side of the gridded map. Thomas falls silent, shaking his head and mumbles something under his breath. His hand raps against the side of the machine, the screen flickers, and the entire grid, dot and all, vanishes. Gives it another shake, gently coaxing it back to life as he spins the bottom dial. The grid reappears, now zoomed out to include the full outline of the city. He zooms out further to reveal the outskirts, the train yard, the river to the east, the desert to the north, the mountains at the edge of the desert. No way back. He rotates the top dial slowly until the dot reappears. Light blue now, against the rolling green lines of the mountain, he reached for a tattered notebook and pulls a faded photograph from between. He scrawls a location on the back and hands it to her. You remind me of him, he tells her. She tips the photo into soft lamplight to examine it and smiles. He's dead, Light growls. Startled, she finally breaks the tense silence. I'm sorry, but I'm not him. I like how they're setting this up as she's about to go into the mountains and find the 50-year-old military veteran who's put it all down, and now the world finally needs him to save the world against whatever's wrong, the perils, and he's brought back from his hibernation, from his self-exile to save the day once again. If you've ever seen the Key and Peele sketch of the retired military specialist, that's the exact narrative we're playing on here. Startled, she finally breaks the tense silence. "I'm sorry, but I'm not into him," she says quietly. "You don't even know my name." "I know who you are," he interrupts. She pockets the photograph and disappears into the stairway. Light makes his way into the room's only window. Sliding the thick black curtains to one side, he turns his gaze to the compound to the east. A red dot blinking against an ominously green sky filled with thick imposing thunderheads. I think it's the light.
Look up in the sky, you can see the stars. They've been gone for ages.
I love the earthiness in Light's voice.
You
can tell he's weathered.
This town had its angels. There's nothing but devils left.
Hope you guys are enjoying my narration. I don't know how they did it, but the instrumentation is a perfect backdrop to all of the narration, all of the lyrics. It fits perfectly.
Keep out running the fast till it humps you down. If there's a way out of this, somebody tell me.
Interesting.
This, somebody tell me.
Yeah, so he's still like holding on to a very, very thin shred of hope, because he's like, somehow you're getting out of this, and maybe that's enough. Maybe that's just what it has to be. It doesn't have to be a massive gap between the good and the bad. Just so long as the good sits above the bad, that's enough. That should be the hope that you need to make things better. And I would say, like, as an extension, even if the bad is currently overtaking the good, you don't just sit down. You don't face and accept defeat. You face defeat. You try to change the outcome, because guess what? It doesn't have to be your specific path to success that is the only story that hope can ride on. In fact, if somebody's more creative, more brave, more heroic outside of you, and they see the path, maybe it's worth following them. It's a fine line between viewing that person, that guiding light, as someone with pure delusion, or if they actually have something. So I can understand the tension there of like, do I put my faith in this other person when every single other attempt has led to failure? He walks back to the desk and turns the dial again, zooming in tight on the eastern edge of town.
I know who you are. I've seen what you've done from up in your tower. The only difference between you and me is I'm on the ground.
This album is a vibe so far.
You playing it cool, your hand on the trigger, but I think we both know how this turns out.
Grabbing his coat and another smaller machine from the shelf, he heads for the stairs, his ghosts in tow. You have to just go forward. Hey, at least he's being honest of not knowing how.
Keep on running your past till it hunts you down. If there's a way out of this, somebody tell me.
You know what's interesting to me about this idea of outrunning your past is that it's usually a false dichotomy, because if someone views you as outrunning your past, you're always heading to the future anyways. That is a kind of baked in assumption to the understanding of time. is that the past is going to remain in the past and a change is occurring in the future. So there will never be a moment in the future that one-to-one maps onto what came previous. Actually, asserting that would be a false declaration, in my opinion, because, of course, baked in, you're outrunning your past, and the conditions of what made the past don't necessarily hold in the present or in the future. When things change longitudinally, you also have to check whether the assumptions you believed in at the beginning are still holding today. And if there's a new paradigm, a new lens to look at the world through, that has to be considered and necessarily differs from what occurred in the past. So why does the past have to hunt you down, you know? He turns his collar up and begins to follow the tracks eastward. He walks for miles along the tracks until they meet the river. From there, he follows the river past the rusty warehouses and towering cranes near the southern docks before passing through the darkened tunnels that lead into the heart of the city. The few men and women caught out in the growing downpour pay more attention to the looming patrol robots than the silent passage of the old man. Curious as to why the ever-glowing eyes of the machines momentarily dim and then grow dark as he passes.
They took out a match, started the fire, lit up the city. And for miles and miles.
It's kind of like has the energy of Harry Potter in the, I think it's the Deathly Hallows Part 2 movie where he re-enters Hogwarts. He's welcomed back by the crowd, but in this case, there's more of a confusion.
There's a storm blowing in, the heavens will open when the flood rushes over.
I wanted to add all the growl, all the vocal fry, just start screaming out. Standing now in the shadow of the great fortress. Screams are swallowed by the storm. With the electric guitar, I love that moment. This is the best moment of the album so far. The robot guards advance through the pelting sheets of rain, their heavy metal feet sink into the earth beneath them as they march across the soaked fields towards the intruder. As they draw their weapons, Thomas pulls a device no bigger than a transistor radio from his overcoat. His finger presses the large button on the face of the device. The machines shut down instantly. Shut down instantly, legs frozen mid-stride. Their forward momentum causes them to topple and crash into the mud at Thomas's feet. He quickly sidesteps the metal heap and heads for the shadow near the western gate. Ducks into the darkness as the gates begin to open. A second wave of metal sentries march into the field toward the disturbance. He slips through the gate as it begins to close. My prediction, just the way a lot of these stories go, is that Light is doing the brave thing. He's turned this new leaf, and maybe Light by the end of the story doesn't make it, but he kind of had that full character arc, and he's back in a place of hope and trying to bring peace back to the world. Whether he survives or not, we'll find out. Eyes ahead. Loving this so far, man. That was the best moment in the album. When Light starts screaming out and the electric guitar matches him. That energy, it's infectious. It's kind of like dual guitar. I don't know if you've ever seen a video of like lightning from two different sources in the sky striking the same place simultaneously. It's a version of how that felt. There's no way back, we can't go back. You hear the rain now, the thundering. It's all coming to a head, guys. The storm, there you go. Far above the commotion, unaware of the intrusion of his former partner, Albert Wiley, paces his control room seething. The machine in the green battle helmet stands silently at the large window, its red eyes silently searching for some unseen but clearly felt disturbance below. I think of this like red eye as like 2001 Space Odyssey HAL, for those of you who've seen that movie. The rocket had fallen short of its target, this after weeks of his robot enforcers malfunctioning at crucial moments in the crumbling southern district that houses the insurgency. One failure after another. He'd ordered the attack as a message to any would-be uprising, but also as a signal to citizens within the more tightly controlled inner ring of the city. He needed to make them feel safe, protected, and the need to know what happens to agitators. The great screen atop the tower is at the center of the city, even more glorious now after its reconstruction, stands in stark contrast to the dark smoke still billowing into the southern sky. This like top paragraph here, in terms of strategy, this is like, I don't know if they call it like counterintelligence or like psyop or something, but the idea is you up front can be like the despot, and then on the back end you continually reconstruct artifacted, conflicts where you are now viewed as the savior, but you were the madman behind its construction anyways. So it's all manipulation to get people to believe your story. And, I feel like with the supervillains of the world, it's more obvious that they're doing this, but because they have a lot of the power, and you can apply this to the real world too, by the way. There's so much bullshit happening nowadays. They can do it. They can produce the psyop in front of you, and because we as individual citizens don't have the power that we would like to be able to put a stop to it, we are simply mocked in the presence of these psyops that we can detect as psyops, but seemingly we have no power to push back on. But that's why it takes a collective of all of us awakening to realize just how many ways in which we are being taken advantage of and disadvantaged. Not only us as individuals, but the future that we have in mind for our kids is going to suffer because of our inaction now. And it all starts from here in our minds. That's where the war is waged. Buried in the red, this is the world he's created, a world balanced on a fulcrum of fear, teetering between security and chaos, heaven and hell. Albert leans against his desk, in the center of the room, speaking more to himself than to the machine. You hear the quickness of this riff now? 1 yen, 2 yen, 3 yen, 4 yen. This is a very classic rock feel. The wily cat. What is this song with the riff? It goes I'm reminded of that song. Maybe it's XYZ Megadeth. I don't know. Or Hangar 18. Listen to the guitar there. Doesn't matter. So he's not stopping. But I close my eyes, I see it shining like a vision in my mind. No, he's manifesting. I know the way. Can he cross every day what is mine? large chair behind his desk, rage exhausted. For a brief moment, he feels a flicker of something new, a hollow sadness, a creeping despair. He straightens his spine and pours himself another drink, swallowing the feelings down with it. The robot makes its way to the pulsing red column near the back of the control room, awaiting orders that it will transmit out to the rest of the red-eyed army. I like this little moment of insight into how he is feeling emotionally, because I think that's a big thing of what goes on in the hearts of a lot of the villains of our worlds. They actually have emotions, but the way that they're channeling those emotions, extremely problematic. They aren't addressing them. They aren't properly processing them. They'll wash it down with alcohol, with drugs, with pain, with sadism, any number of things to shift the focus away from the self and the cognitive dissonance within to the external world, where you can exert some level of control, because it doesn't feel like I can control myself within, but I can't stomach not having control, and therefore I'm going to exert my control on others because I can't on myself.
Now it takes both hands on the wheel, even keeping on the road. But if I keep stoking the fear, there is no distance I can go. No one hears a scream to slow it down. It's a time radio.
So I like this line here, but if I keep stoking the fear, there's no distance I can't go. It's a very, again, honest admission of the strategy many of these despots employ. They use your fear against you. If they can instill fear, well, fear is a powerful motivator. It's not the healthiest one in the world, but it does motivate us to act in a certain way or to mitigate our own presence in the world. Speaking as somebody who I held a lot of fear in my mind, body, spirit for so long, I was a lot lesser of the version of Sohum that I am today because of my fear. And weirdly enough, it doesn't have to come from any one individual source, one specific bully. Fear propagates societally in a lot of small ways at first, and then it becomes obvious at the top if, a figure like Wiley emerges. But these are little erosions at our foundation that, if unchecked, will sort of guide us down terrible, terrible paths. He barks his orders to the machine and walks to the window, turning his gaze to the tower and the southwest corner of the compound. The room is engulfed in a deep crimson, and the order is sent. Beyond the rain-streaked glass, flames erupt from the tower as a pair of rockets tear through the sheeting downpour. They arc across the sky, bending towards the still smoking southern edge of the city. Albert lays his hand flat against the great window, feeling the cold glass shudder against cracks of thunder, hoping to feel the impact of the impending explosions. I love the dual guitar here. And listen to the panning of them as well. Both headphones are being utilized. The organ below. This makes me think of Deep Purple for a second. Huge organ. I love this melodically. Calling out miles and miles from north of the city, the earth trembles, much too far for the latest rocket attack. These vibrations radiate from the machines working deep in the nearby mines. The great stone walls of the canyon gave way to a small clearing. The girl's motorbike skids to a halt, red dust settling behind her. The man steps out of the shadows. His hand rests near the small sidearm that hangs from his belt. She instantly recognizes his face, unchanged in the 8 years since she's seen it. She removes the helmet slowly. His eyes narrow as he looks her over, and then without a word, turns a something. His eyes narrow as he looks her over, turns and walks through the entrance to what appears to be an abandoned mine shaft, leaving the heavy metal door ajar. She takes this as an invitation and follows him into the dark of the hillside. After what seems like an eternity, she finds him standing at the base of a stone stairway, his back still to her. She gathers the courage to speak.
When the sky filled with fire,
And now she's back.
we saw the world come crashing down. Hands of steel, hearts of iron. Lit a flame that won't go out. We're gonna keep getting stronger. Not afraid to risk it all.
Yeah, you have to put all your chips on the table,
But the choice now is
especially when the stakes are this high. All in.
Or how we'll fall. Can you open your eyes? See the blood on the ground. Can't you hear them calling out? You can try and deny, but your heart knows the sound.
Oh, you can recognize the hope. It's there. It's not just you anymore. Pay attention to the voices
There's
now.
a way this will end. Like a train on a single track. And your father knew it. And now we're here, and we must go back. I saw the look in his eyes, saw the fire raining down. Can't you hear him calling out? You can try and deny, but your heart knows the sound. You can hear them calling out.
The sudden movement of Mega Man's head stops her in her tracks as he glares menacingly over his shoulder at the mention of his father. She follows silently as he ascends the steep and narrow stairs. After countless steps, they emerge atop the canyon wall, high above the clearing. Squinting against the glare of the sunlight and the dusty wind, she sees the city in the distance. Clouds hang over it, but even so, she can't make out the fresh plumes of thick black smoke. She drops the helmet and rushes past him to the very edge of the plateau. The wave of grief forces her to her knees, causing her to cry out into the void. It feels like a betrayal to stand here in sunlight and safety while those she cares about most suffer. She's like questioning, why am I even here?
See the blood on the ground. Can't you hear them calling out? You can try and deny, but your heart knows the sound. You can hear them calling out. Won't you open your eyes? See the fire raining down. Can't you hear them calling out? Cause you can still survive, but we got to go now. I can hear them calling out.
Dude, the instrumentation is choice. She reaches out towards the city, pleading with him through her tears. The wind whips past, carrying her voice into the canyons as she kneels, silent in the dust. She begins to wonder if he's gone. When she hears a slow metered footsteps approaching. Oh my god. We have to talk about the musicality first. Like, we're obviously taking in the story as it comes, but so much of the arranging here is actually perfection. When you're thinking of like narration, you're gonna want to like have a backdrop musically that makes sense to what you're kind of laying out. So I would imagine when they're composing these tracks, they have an actual narrator reciting the lyrics at the tempo that makes sense for them, and then they populate around that narration. That's what I would think, but maybe it's more of a feel thing. I could take it a different direction where you've established the story, you've written out all of the passages and the descriptions, and then you kind of craft the melody around that fits the kind of lyrical and thematic vibe in each of those moments. Maybe it's also, dynamic, where you iterate over, lyrics first, then the music, and lyrics after, and you go back and forth to produce everything we have here. In any case, it's all a very, very well woven together piece of collective art. Like, you really don't find music like this anywhere. Because I'm thinking of like the now 2,000 plus reactions I've done on the channel. The Protomen in this style stand alone. I don't hear any other groups adding this level of narration to the music. For most of, like, I guess anytime there's narration, a lot of it is instrumental as a backdrop. The guitars sound beautiful. They're perfectly mixed. When you want them to have more of a lead tone, they do it, and they carry that energy through. If it's more about the ambiance, then they play a little bit more of a melodic, airy role. Really, in any moment, the music matches not only the theme, but the energy of the singer below. So if the girl is singing from a place of quiet, then loud desperation in hopes of getting Mega Man to, fight once more, you hear all of that emotion imbued in the music. And of course, that gets exaggerated when she starts to sing. And you can even point to the other examples of Thomas Light having a similar thing with his narration, his not narration, his dialogue and the instrumentation. So there's a lot of that going on. Because I'm reading a lot, I'm not able to point out specific moments that are really, really standing out to me, because there's been quite a few, but I think I'm enjoying doing the narration. So let's keep going. His voice is unsteady. She understands that this is perhaps the first time he's used it in years. It starts as a whisper. Oh, this is cool. And this is also the self-titled track, by the way.
There was a moment in the darkness, just before the blinding light.
You hear like the wind behind him, like echoing his voice.
I was standing there before you, just out of sight.
The more he speaks, the stronger it grows.
Feel the thunder start to move.
Oh, listen to that bass.
You feel your pulse begin to rise. The night's a shock that cuts right through you. You come alive.
Stops next to her, eyes fixed on the city. She feels the anxious needling of fear as his voice grows stronger still. His face turns swiftly, his eyes filled with rage locks onto hers. She springs to her feet and takes several steps back, fighting the urge to flee. She can almost feel the heat of his anger radiating from him as he continues. Oh, and the rage and the gallop of this riff, you can hear that. She digs her heels hard into the stone ground behind her as she wills her voice to join his. Gallop proof is everything. Oh, the harmony. Crisscrossing. He takes a step towards her, then another, towering over her as their voices collide in the shrinking space between them. He halts his advance, surprised by her fearlessness. Beautiful. She's showing her mettle, what she's made of. She motions to the smoke on the horizon. She seethes at his cold callousness. See, now he's pissing her off. truly shout out whoever put this video together, because you have the different colorings of Mega Man and the girl, blue and red together make purple, so the unison is their composite. Just these little details are nice. Outrage erupts within her. She rushes at him and slams her fist into the chest, heedless of the unyielding steel from which his father made him. He steps back in shock. Let's go, girl. We need a name for her. Give her a name. Fury now tempered with remorse, hers with desperation. The nuanced feelings that are going through each of them. There's many things happening at once. Fury, remorse, desperation, hope. I have chills, guys. Holy. Unbelievable. It's so perfect. It's much too late. It's not too late. Everything else they agree on, but the core belief of what's possible is the differentiator. Let's see if it remains that way. But my God, I love the weaving of this story from each of the characters' perspectives. Beautiful, truly beautiful. Emotional, man. I feel the tears in my eyes. Wow. The words and the fury combine to build an impenetrable wall in the small place between them. She thinks of Wily's machines, the ones she spent years plotting against and even longer hiding from. They're cold and unfeeling, heartless and unknowable. She thought somehow he would be different. He once had been. Even as a child, she recognized the sadness behind the rage when he turned his back on the city that failed him when it had chosen fear over freedom, cravenness over courage, the same city that had failed his brother, his father. God, it's all so awesome. Hope you guys can hear me. Cravenness over courage, the same city that had failed his brother, his father. With his back towards her, the burning city in the distance, she realizes that the hero she has come here to find is gone, lost to solitude and anger. The guitars are beautiful. She reaches down and picks up the helmet, his helmet. She understands but cannot forgive. She hurls the helmet at him in disgust. Rolls across the hard stone, stopping inches before plummeting into the canyon below. Wow, because she had been holding on to this helmet for so long as her symbol of hope, and now she throws it away in the face of her icon, of her hero, and that's why they kind of say, right, you never want to meet your heroes because you're always going to be left disappointed. It rolls across the hard stone, stopped inches from plummeting into the canyon below. She turns and storms down the darkened stairway, leaving Mega Man alone once more. My guess is he's going to chase after her or appear at some later point to save and help the girl in this battle against evil. It takes all of his willpower to resist the urge to turn as her footsteps disappear down the stone stairs. Fading into the tunnels below, he listens hard, but all that remains is the wind whipping through the canyon. Come on, Mega Man. Realize the error of your ways at the last moment to fix it all. hear the wind too. All the attention to detail, even in the sound effects, let alone the instrumentation. Oh, the door slams on him. The sound of the motorbike rumbling through the canyon fades to nothing. He stands for hours looking out over the barren wasteland toward the city, watches the fires grow taller, the smoke thicker. The part of him that walked away is glad to see the people get what they deserve after all these years, after all the times they had failed to stand alongside those who fought for them. Himself, his brother, but first they had failed his father. It had been years since he had allowed himself to think of his father, but as he watches the city burn, the thoughts flood in. He recalls the day his father had finally told him the truth about his brother. The story is so good. The multiple generations, the figuring out of the brothers, the way they oppose in belief. He imagines what his father must have felt as he watched his sons face each other in battle, watching one son die as the other abandoned him as the city to do the same. He thinks back to one of the last things his father said to him, "You cannot win." At the time, he had thought his father didn't believe in him, that he didn't think he was strong enough, but now he understood what Light had known all along. The fight was unwinnable, not because Mega Man wasn't capable, but because the people hadn't been ready. See, I kind of accept that, but I also think that Light, even in the face of people having like built up their own courage, doesn't believe that it's possible. And maybe that's conditioning through the years of their passivity. So it feels like, oh, even this is like the boy who cried wolf. Now you guys want to stand up? Well, you got to prove it. You got to show me what you have. And to be honest, my money is not on you. I maybe hope that you can succeed. And there is that glimmer now within Light. But it's a very, what would you call it? Uphill battle, Sisyphean. Whether things have changed or not, he owes them nothing, but his father owes him everything. Mega Man looks down at the helmet, lying in the dust at his feet. I probably should have purchased a Mega Man helmet for this reaction. Now would be the perfect time to put it on. There he goes, lifting the helmet off the floor. See, like, despite having made the wrong decision earlier, you can always make things right going forward. The weight in his hands feels heavier than he remembered. The crest is dented, the blue surface chipped and scarred. The last traces of his contempt are reflected back at him in the black shield as the sky above falls into darkness. This is cool. He's a little older. You know, he doesn't have the same pep in his step, but looks like he's about to make it happen. Starts down the long staircase, his pace quickens, matching the creeping sense of urgency he's now feeling. The momentum. If you've been stationary for so long, it's harder and harder to bring yourself back to movement. Here he goes. Large arm cannon from its case and slides his left hand into it slowly, feeling it power up. The door opens and Mega Man steps in the darkness of the clearing. footsteps reverberate through the canyon as he accelerates from a walk into a desperate run. I like it. It's like a recognition, like I haven't been perfect and I may not even succeed now, but I need to be a part of this fight. If it costs me everything, so be it. Oh, I like this. This is like brewing energy for me. We started with all of that rage and fury, and now we're channeling it. We're converting that potential into something kinetic. First into the desert at a sprint. I'm loving this. You hear how everything is just punching his lyrics further through the roof, all supporting him. The guitars, the drums, the keys, the vocals, everything is supporting his journey now. It's very climactic. This is like what now the entry into Act 3, you could say. I mean, obviously it's Act 3, the album, but like within Act 3, the Act 3. Seems like he's been convinced. The red line, with a good head start and a half tank of gasoline left, the girl barrels into the north side of the city. She rides as fast as she dares while dodging the other cars on the road, weaving through the transports and trying not to draw the attention of the sentry drones flying overhead. She watches in horror as a trio of missiles arcs across the sky and dive behind the smoking skyline into the south side of the city. Fear seizes the throttle as she begs the motor beneath her for more speed. She's whipped into action here. The street is littered with the debris from the impact of the rockets as it descends between the scorched remains of the buildings. The surveillance drone provides Albert Wiley with an unencumbered view of the destruction he's wrought. He reveals the islands of now concrete, now embedded in the asphalt. He smiles as the tangled masses of rebar and steel, the glittering pools of glass. He doesn't flinch at the charred and tattered clothing and the smears of blood peeking out from the rubble. But as the drone passes over the stalled troops, the image on the screen begins to cut out. Warnings indicate that the motors are behaving erratically. He's cold. He no longer has that sympathy, empathy, none of it. He's impersonal, lifeless, just like the robots. Feels like this is a march, you know, with the trumpets playing against the kind of drummer boy beat below. This is Tom's doing. Albert is sure of it. He pulls the drone back beyond the range of Tom's machinations. The scene is the set for the battle to end this pathetic uprising and restore order to the city, his city. He pours himself a drink and sits back in the chair to enjoy the show. The first shot shatters the silence. Narrowly misses its mark, causing others to scatter from their hiding spots, hurling stones and rubble at the unflinching metal firing squad as they run. The show must go on. It's about to... oh, yeah. I felt that coming with the silence brewing. Now the intensity's there. I love the dynamic between Tom and Wiley as well. Mega Man, Protomen, Mega Man and the girl, the crowd and Tom, the crowd and the girl, the crowd and Mega Man. So many dynamics. The snipers target every moment with terrifying accuracy. Bodies slump into the street from behind dumpsters and abandoned cars. Even as the air becomes choked with smoke and dust, the shots continue, tracking the screams in the cloud. Their attention forward, the snipers never see the phalanx of men and women, armed only with cast-off doors and car hoods, racing at them from behind. My God, that's their shields, right? When you think of like a Roman phalanx, it's like 100 shields, like a centurion, all guarding the collective, and they've got doors and car hoods. They hit the line of robots like a snowplow, shoulders to the steel, heaving themselves and the machines across the invisible line. Wiley shouts and hurls his drink, narrowly missing the screen. The glass shatters against the enormous window behind it, leaving a small chip in the pane before cascading fragments of the broken tumbler to the ground. Oh, the slowdown? Another confrontation, potentially? Oh, Gregorian chant in the back. Huge, ominous sound. Back on the screen, he watches as a small force of insurgents emerge from the smoke and descends upon the incapacitated robots. As the drone pushes in closer, Albert can see the red lights within the green blast helmets flicker and fade. A sickening dread grows in the pit of his stomach as he watches his army being torn apart. A figure points and barks a command. Another lifts a fumbled weapon from the street and takes aim at the flying drone. Then the world on the screen is spinning. As the image comes to a jarring stop, the failing feed shows Albert one of his deadly machines, helmet missing, parts looted, mouths torn off. The robot is slumped. The robot is slumped against the wall of a bombed-out building. The words, "Hope is coming back," scrawled on the blackened concrete behind it. Then nothing. I love it. A little hope to put fear into the heart of the villain. Above the train yard, Thomas Light sets his tools on the workbench and steps to his open window. Fear catches in his throat as he hears for the first time in years the sound of hope. He knows too well the world into which the hope is born, the world in which it will surely die. He alone knows the secrets that lie beneath Wiley's compound. He alone knows that time is running out. Oh, Thomas. He turns back to the task with a renewed sense of purpose. He works far into the night, fighting the urge to sleep. At last, he sets his tools aside and closes his eyes, allowing himself a few moments of peace before his final gambit begins.
Don't cry for me. I know you never meant.
I'm gonna get emotional, dude. Are we gonna lose Light?
I love you
There's a ballad here.
completely. Just remember that. But I know that I failed, and the city it fell. All the strength in my hands couldn't hold back the swell, couldn't hold back the tide.
Thomas, dear,
No,
you worry so.
I've been here.
I love this so much. I have chills all over my body.
The sky,
It's just like a
the
tree.
night is gone, as it always goes.
God, don't make me
It's
leave.
time for you to rise. Come,
Okay.
you linger too long
I'll
in
wait.
the shade of a dream,
If you're
and the day
waiting
has
for me,
begun.
God,
And
I
there's
know
much
I
to
can
keep
make
time.
it
There's a
through just
city
one
to
more
save.
day.
The splitting there, I can make it just through one more day. He's building his hope, and she has had the hope all along for the city to be saved. I just love their individual character arcs reaching this place. It's so satisfying and so beautiful. He awakens alone at his workbench, and as the shadow of Emily's memory drifts just out of reach, The night before comes slowly back into focus. Thomas Light examines the small music box in the filtered half-light and carefully tucks it into his overcoat. He sets his tattered notebook on the bench and hurries down the stairs and out into the morning air, thick and heavy with smoke. But you hear the optimism and the musicality now.
And you can't put it out.
This is reminiscent of the second act, I believe.
The girls they know.
I think, and the first act at moments.
This wasn't the way the night was supposed to go. There's one way out, but I can see they're betting it all on one machine. With a still beating heart.
Wow, it's beautiful.
From a dream they can barely recall before it all fell apart. But I know he's not coming back to save them. 'Cause I watch him walk away. Even now as we drown in the dark, and my heart is buried underneath the weight. God, I swear
The streets are empty, except for the few standing near a fire burning at the edge of the train yard. Thomas hears them speaking about the night before, the victory and celebration, the return of their young leader, the meeting she called later this morning to tell them what she'd learned in the mountains of the north. He steps back onto the tracks to begin the same long journey he made the day before, this time with one detour.
I've seen this before,
Love the electric guitar there.
and I know how it ends when it all goes wrong.
Come on, Light,
And
please.
the hero will fall.
No more
But if I
pessimism,
stand no
man.
chance, it's 'cause I'm no hero at all. I can't look back, 'cause I know what's there. A hell that's all my
Wow,
fault.
he's confronting himself,
And a
the father of death,
beautiful girl.
right?
And a dream that I lost when I wouldn't let go of this world. And I know she's not coming back, 'cause I let her slip away. Heavily after tonight, I swear I will walk away from all of this.
How are we gonna end this?
To you.
I have chills all over. The saxophone here, I'm in awe. I want to hear it and then I'll do the narration. So beautiful. That's such a smart decision there to employ the saxophone. The sun is just coming up when he finally steps through the iron gates. It has been years since he'd last been here, but his feet carry him to the spot without thinking. Here at the far end of a long row of simple stone markers, he kneels down. He gently presses his trembling hand to the ground, closes his eyes. He feels her hand on his shoulder and reaches back to take it. He sits frozen in silence, his eyes clenched tight, knowing that when he opens them, she'll be gone. Once again, he begins to sob, trying to find the words he wants to say to her now. Now he feels her spirit. I love that veering into harmonic minor. Meanwhile, back on the southern side of the city, the unrest is gathering steam. Thomas can tell by the even-toned voice on the loudspeaker outside the cemetery gates that always lets on more than it intends. If you know how to sit through the doublespeak, citizens are warned to remain in their homes and report any disturbance to the nearest patrol. Riley is rattled. Thomas makes his way through the deserted streets, avoiding the robots when he can and shutting them down when he must. He He knows Wiley is shook. He's got them on the run. Even though on the surface they're projecting strength, that strength is waning. God, I love the choir against this beat below. Oh, this chord progression in the keys. I am gushing over here.
One more night to get it back.
Come on.
Make it right.
Why do I feel like we're gonna get asked for?
They are fighting for. Shine a light.
We're like so close to that point of pure hope for everyone. And nearing the end of this album.
Dying for. All the cities awake. They have waited so long for this day. I can feel their beating heart, pumping blood through their veins, reaching up to climb out of the grave. Hands of skin, hands of bone, and a voice like a fire.
It's so grandiose.
I know what I'll do. I've made my choice.
Good.
I make my stand. I may not be the hero they need, but God, I can still be a man. Oh, Emily, look down on me. I know that I was wrong. I'll make it right. And as sure as the stars in the sky, that we'll be together tonight. 'Cause I know I'm not.
I really like the lyric here. I may not be the hero they need, but God, I can still be your man. There has been versions of this idea between what is a hero and what is a man throughout this record, and I think throughout some of the other songs in the previous records we've heard. Definitionally, a man can be a hero, and a man is a hero, and a man isn't a hero. It's all possible. There's no insight that you can glean if you were to just hear the label a man, because a man can be all of those things. And it's up to that man to act in a heroic way to then be donned that label of hero. It's not as simple as someone has superpowers and therefore they're a hero, because of course superpowers can be used for evil. To do something heroic, even if it's a small heroic act, that is what gives the man their character, and that's how you can characterize them as being a hero. Even when they have fallen so far from grace, there is generally, if you take it down a religious path, a path towards redemption and finding one's heroism once again and letting that idealized version of yourself actually manifest in the moment, rather than being a sort of glimmer of hope that you kind of brush to the wayside. Instead, you internalize your own heroism and act from that place to move the needle.
We'll be together tonight. 'Cause I know I'm not coming back. 'Cause there's nothing left for me, whatever I have. I know that it has to be with you tonight. Emily, this is my chance to make it right.
Another way to say it is, all heroes are men, not all men are heroes. Dread battling hope, he finds himself once again in the shadow of the great skull-like complex. Slipping through the gate, he makes his way to the large concrete stairwell he'd entered just one day before. He hesitates, eyes fixed on the path down to the lower levels, before pivoting to the staircase going up to the control tower to Wiley. He begins to climb. This confrontation is going to be awesome. I gotta hear what they talk about. As the elevator doors closed on the lowest level of the compound, deep beneath the tower's control room, Albert silently questions his decision. He knows the machine he's been working on is not yet ready. Previous iterations have proven unreliable or worse, dangerous. However, the threat of full-blown insurrection has left him with no other choice. The Good Doctor Part 2. Albert exits the elevator, the red-eyed robot following close behind. As they walk into the control room, Albert to his desk and the machine to its usual post by the great window. Neither noticed the figure lurking in the darkness behind the pulsing transmitter at the back of the room. They both turn at the sound of footsteps. Albert struggles to make sense of it. Emerging from the shadows is a man he hasn't seen in more than 40 years, but one who has haunted every moment of his life since. Slowly, the light reveals his former partner's aged face. And dude, I love even just the naming of light, because the light will always reveal the evil, always reveal the darkness. And in this moment, seeing light, it's a reflection of how Wiley feels about himself. He now can see clearly maybe the error of his ways. That doesn't mean he's going to rectify his behavior. He's already far down this path of destruction, but having that person who was, in a sense, his alter, the other side of the coin, you might say, and have that be re-revealed to the self, it's a very profound moment. I've actually used this example once before in a reaction, but you may not have caught it, because I film a lot of reactions over here. There was a clip on YouTube I saw of this man being, I believe, sentenced. He's in court, and the judge actually happened to have been one of his elementary school friends, and she tells him, "Hey, I think I know you. Are you the same, person from this elementary school?" And he immediately says yes, and they have that moment of recognition of one another, and he immediately starts crying. He starts breaking down. And she's like, "Yeah, I always wondered what had happened to you, seeing you after so long in this case, I'm sorry to see you in this position." And so, thinking of light and thinking of Albert here, they both are, in a way, those two people from that video. I encourage you to look it up. Just find, judge recognizes, convict or whatever the video was. His gray hair, his tattered overcoat, and the knife clutched in his shaking right hand. The robot, registering the threat, reaches for its own weapon, but as Tom steps fully into the light, Albert looks into his eyes and is surprised by what he sees, not rage. You hear the Western motif, as if they're having that showdown, but a profound sadness. Here, finally facing the man he has feared and hated for all of these years, he feels an unfamiliar emotion, pity. It's a quick draw duel. Albert gives the robot a signal staying the execution of his broken former partner. Tom takes a ragged breath and begins to speak softly as if to himself.
There's been blood on my hands such a very long time.
God, I have chills. I have chills so often
I wish it were mine.
during the Protomen.
But it's not. So I plead with the voices I still hear in my head. Ones that I've lost, the ones that must wish I were dead.
I love the ringing out of the guitar.
I stepped onto that train like the ghost of a man who was killed by a world he could not understand. So alone. For years I would wake up,
Epic.
scream.
Epic is the four-letter word for this whole album.
For the darkness when I turned on the light. In sleep, these sheets still cry out for me. I don't know why she's gone.
I love the melody so much here.
But I know why I'm standing here tonight.
Tom straightens up suddenly. Albert steps back reflexively towards his machine protector, whose gloved hand hovers menacingly over its gun.
The knife in your hand says you've made up your mind. There's a price you expect now for taking her life, and it's mine. And an eye for an eye is a pretty fair cost. Why play a hand when you've already lost? Oh, Tom.
Albert takes one step back. Albert takes one step back and then another, turning his back to Tom. I'm feeling all the emotions, guys.
What would you have me do?
Facing the robot now, he looks out past the machine to the city below.
Look around. There was never a way out from the top of the world. Every path leads down.
The door at either side of the control room opens simultaneously. The opposing figures of two more snipers step into the room, blocking the exits. Tom's eyes remain locked on his target. And what was that line here? From the top of the world, every path leads down. I love it. It sounds so logical from Albert's perspective. And the thing that I would say is that the idea that you have to be on top of the world at all to exist on some arbitrary hierarchy is the failure of one's like engagement with the world. You having that belief means that you are sort of reinstilling hierarchy rather than accepting your fellow man as your fellow man. You view it continually as a competition. And evolutionarily, I understand the need for competition, and we fight over resources because they are scarce. That really isn't the case in the modern era, especially. And I would say it's probably really never been the case for real. It's just our inability to liaison with one another diplomatically, with love, with kindness, that has kept us back for so long. The true biggest lever that we societally can pull to improve any of our circumstances is to view each other as equals, as equal members of this world to contribute positively, rather than continually be at odds. The doors at either side of the control room open simultaneously. The imposing figures of two more snipers step into the room, blocking the exits. Tom's eyes remain on his target.
Stained with blood. Somehow it's got to stopping this machine. Have you ever looked back at the wreckage we caused? Every move that we made.
No one's stopping this machine, the literal machine, but also the figurative one.
Someone else paid the cost.
Machine devoid of personality, of empathy. Tom steps forward. The three robots raise their guns in unison. Raises the trembling knife.
And if I am no weight that takes both of us down, I'll hold tight till the light
Where's Mega Man?
goes out. Throw the switch, turn it off.
Robots reach for their triggers.
Let the world carry on. Everybody on.
The knife clatters to the floor. No, light, no. Albert watches stunned. I have chills. Albert watches stunned as Tom reaches into his overcoat and pulls out a small box bearing the initials ES. He places it on the desk and steps back. Albert gently lifts the box. His brow furrows as he thinks of Emily. His hands tremble as he pictures her standing on the balcony that night, tall and defiant, the shadow of the machine he had ordered to end her life. He opens the lid. The whir of motor floods the tense silence of the room. Is it one of those like Jack in the Boxes or something. I'm forgetting the exact object. The music box, right? The box begins to play, the melody familiar and haunting. It's more than Albert can bear. Slams the box down on the desk and makes a motion of the machines to descend upon Tom. The violence is sudden and shocking as they throw the old man to the ground. He doesn't cry out, he doesn't fight back. Albert has won. The victory rings hollow and tears at him as he watches the man who once called his closest friend, the brilliant doctor without whom none of this would have been created, being beaten and bloodied at his feet. At a word, the machine stops their assault. They drag the battered prisoners across the control room floor. The two men's eyes meet one last time before the door closes, leaving Albert standing alone. He turns and walks to the window. He turns and walks to the window. He lifts his hands and runs his fingers across what was once a small chip in the glass, tracing the line of the larger crack that he now sees reaches all the way from the ceiling to the floor. On one side of the crack, he sees the shining city beneath him. On the other, the reflection of the music box. He turns and picks up the knife, setting it beside the box. He sits down at his desk to prepare for what must happen next. Within hours, the center screen and the loudspeakers proclaim the triumphant defeat of the greatest threat the city has ever known. The citizens are told to gather outside the Eastern Complex to witness the beginning of a new era of peace and freedom. Dude, the juxtaposition of the knife and the box is wild. And this is the last song on the album, by the way. The sun rises high overhead as the crowd begins to gather outside the walls of the factory-turned fortress. Even the small army of rebels dare to leave the relative safety of their southern stronghold. They cautiously slip into the throng, drawn like the rest of the city to the mystery. I don't understand. So Albert stopped the assault on Thomas, seemingly still alive even though Thomas is not physically well. Has he changed his mind? I'd be very surprised. The sun rises high overhead as the crowd begins to gather outside the walls. Oh, I read this again. Sorry. As Albert Wiley steps out onto the battlement above the great wall surrounding the complex, he is greeted with a rumbling murmur, a mixture of excitement and fear. He smiles a tense smile as he addresses the crowd beneath him. He tells them in a failed assassination attempt, Thomas Light has been captured. That this finally brings to an end this crazed dissident's years-long reign of terror. No, man. The rebel army scattered across the back of the crowd looks nervously to their leader. Just hours ago, she had broken the news that Mega Man refused to join their fight. Now the look of confusion and helplessness on her face causes panicked whispers to sweep through their ranks. No! The large gate beneath Wiley opens just enough to allow a battalion of robot guards to force the broken and beaten husk of the prisoner out into the space between the wall and the crowd. Their whispers rise in waves of anguish. They're losing the hope again. The confusion is too much. Mega Man saw all of this as well. Standing in the empty streets of the city, his energy completely depleted, he watches in horror as the towering screen tells him exactly where he must go. Ignoring the exhaustion that threatens to overwhelm him, he forces his limbs to action again. He wills his depleted systems to maintain full function, just a little longer as he races towards the eastern side of the city. Wiley's incessant drone from the speakers passes by in blur, emphasizing the distance that still lies between himself and his father. I'm just in awe. From the wall, Wiley makes a motion and the gates open fully, revealing a simple gallows from a single robot standing atop the platform. No! The guards force Thomas to walk to the steps. Time slows as Mega Man crashes into the back of the great sea of people. He desperately throws innocent bodies to the side. I can't handle this dude. To the side, his cries are engulfed by the din. Light slowly climbs the steps and stands beneath the crossbeam, the rope dangling in front of his face. Why? Why did he accept this fate? Because, like, maybe he is viewing, he's martyring himself. That's what it is, right? It has to be what it is. But I don't know if it's going to backfire because of the confused and split perception in the crowd now, because now you have Mega Man on one end not agreeing to the girl initially, and now the Light literally attempting to assassinate Albert. There's a truth to the matter, but it's also being weaponized against the cause of the insurrection, because we really know that we should be on the side of the civilians, on the side of Light finally seeing hope for what it is. But the optics right now are in favor of Albert, unfortunately. So I hope that the martyring actually serves the cause rather than just being a moment of complete sadness. But we'll see. The rope dangling in front of his face. He looks out over the crowd and for a brief instant catches a flash of blue before the cloth plunges him into darkness. He breathes slowly and deliberately against the fabric, as the rope slips around his neck. He takes another deep, slow breath and closes his eyes. So he had the flash of blue, the flash of hope. And now he's gone, dude. I just cannot with this band, with everything right now. Oh, and you hear the creaking. Like I had the feeling in this listen that something was gonna happen to Light, and like even though I had it earlier, it doesn't it doesn't hurt any less to then have him gone, especially in the way that this happened. I felt at so many moments like maybe Light is gonna be saved, and then we were getting closer and closer to the confrontation, and then you think like, man, he's bringing a knife to a gunfight. Like, how is he really expecting to beat Albert here? And that was never his intention. He brought the music box as a last ditch effort to like bring the humanity out of Albert, but instead Albert entrenched himself further into the evil. Man, dude, I love the Protomen so much. This album is so good. I don't even know where to begin, really. I feel like the story is like the main focus. We talked a lot about the musicality, so many great moments. I feel like a lot of the emotions kind of being portrayed to us in the lyrics and even in the dialogue between characters are all being mapped on so perfectly well by the instrumentation beneath. A lot of the sound effects mapping onto, the winds, the creaking of that rope. My God, it's so haunting. The robots whirring, the different effects that we hear throughout. There's a lot of attention paid to these things that help, add that vividness to our own imaginations. Because like all the while, as I'm reading these descriptions of the environment, of the characters' expressions and what they're feeling, like I am perfectly able to envision it in my brain. And I really wish like technology gets to a point where all of the visuals that are populating in my brain can be like presented to you guys visually, almost as like a real-time music video being generated by my thoughts. That would be one hell of a reaction. And maybe if tech gets to that place, I will employ some of that in these videos. I began and I still don't know where to begin. Like, what a story, dude. Like, the place we're at now, it seems like Mega Man is going to fight the good fight in the next act, if we get another act. He will find the girl. I think they're going to have to see eye to eye once again, because right now, the girl is not a big fan of Mega Man. She has lost faith in her hero, and the hero now has to win over the girl who had all of this hope. And I think in so doing, he will be able to reinvigorate all of the other insurrectionists that are underneath the girl, because she is their leader. But now, due to all of the optics of the light being the would-be assassin and now being punished, that is going to thwart so much of their hope and efforts. Light literally being extinguished. So it's seemingly Albert has everything going his way, even though there are the echoes of what would you call it, echoes of revolution. He's still on the better side of squashing it. But even Light saw the flash of blue right before his passing. I think if we can foreshadow, Mega Man is going to put in good work to put Albert in his place. Hopefully that's the direction we go. I don't want this to be like a sort of Game of Thrones thing where like the characters that we don't want to succeed do, but they don't earn their achievement in a way. And I can complain about like the way Game of Thrones all ended. What a terrible way to like round off many of the character arcs in that show. Just complete spitting in the face of many of the fans. Any of the writing that George R.R. Martin did, just truly embarrassing stuff to like put that on television in the way that they did. But that's neither here nor there. I think the Protomen are so expert at their writing, at weaving the stories of the characters together, and the opposing directions in which they believe and act has all been a cornerstone to these beautiful songs where you have the back and forth dialogue. The narration itself is fun to like, narrate and helps us populate the environment, but I think so much of the real money is in the characters and how they interact with one another. Because now we have multiple generations. There's been decades of warring back and forth, of efforts towards achieving some level of peace and overthrowing the evil machine. And it's my hope that we get there. I think we will. But my God, dude, what a journey. What a story. I love it, love it, love it. Need to know your thoughts on all of this in the comments down below. So please feel free and, share anything you have for me. But I'm going to end the video there. Thank you so much to Austin for the album request. This was quite the experience. I had a blast, and I hope you did as well. If you enjoyed the reaction and would like to request one yourself, you can always do so by using the first link in the description box below, or you could scan this handy dandy QR code on the screen. Either way, that is the best way to support my channel. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.